So let's talk about the facial anatomy. So the first thing first, the probably the best reference for, or kind of like a guideline for facial topology is facial anatomy. And the reason I'm saying it is because the way that the muscles on the face laid out is fascinating. We have a few circular muscles, one around each eye and one around the mouth. And we have like different types of muscles. Plus, we have a few shapes that are not coming from the muscles, like there are like kind of like wrinkles or like shape changes that come are caused because of the muscle movement, like the line on the size of mouse that comes from the side of nose and just like comes down. I'm not sure if it's called nasal labial fold or something like that. So because of that, if you take a close look at how I'm laying down the topology, first I'm trying to tackle the circular muscles that we have on the face. So because of that, I'm laying down the shape around the eye, which is like a circular, and exactly the same thing for the lips or around the mouth. And the way I'm doing it is that I'm careful to have same amount of loops, same number of loops on the lower lid and upper lid. And I have 3 loops, one in the middle of each corner of the eye and each corner of the mouth, and on the side corners. Actually, there are like 2 corners. Side corners, it doesn't make sense. So, yeah, I'm trying to keep one edge on each side and 2 supporting edges above and below it. And based on that, I'm trying to figure out how I need to shape my topology. So the other thing is, the other thing that I take care of, lay down first, is the cheekbone direction, which is like kind of like a flat line that goes back. You see here the bottom line that I laid down is that, and for the eyebrows, you see I just like make it like a flat shape on top of the eyebrows and just like extrude it a few times to be sure that I have enough room and topology for the eyebrows to raise. And this is the nasal labial fold that I was talking about. So you see if you take a close look at what I'm doing, is that I lay down those important lines whenever I want to go around that area. I just like lay those down to be sure that I have them there. I don't care about like the number of edges, but I just first take those first, and then I will come back and refine the numbers. And here, the reason I connected the upper lip and bottom lip, the lower lip and upper lip, is that because I want to be sure that if I want to increase the number of edges on one lip, like lower lip, for example, I'm adding the same exact number of edges on the upper lip as well, on the other lip. So yeah, I just like do that, and after that I kind of like extrude them out. So for these circular things, like circular shapes, if you remember in the first chapter, I said that we have 3 types of extrusion if you hold on tab and right click in Quadra, we have edge, loop, and border. For these that you want to spread the borders to the sides and spread them out, the best option is to pick the border, because if you pick the loop, it won't just like extrude them out. It just like extrude them in one way, or like right or left or up or bottom, wherever. And here you see, I for the nose, at first I laid down that muscle shape that goes around the now nose, and after that, this part is important, but is not as important as the other parts, like that curve around the nose or like the lips. So you see, it's kind of like goes side to side, and having that is good enough already. And here for the nose, we should have like a few loops that coming from top to bottom. And the way these, if you just like be careful of like laying those down cleanly, and if you have enough polygon around them, it should be super simple to connect them together. For sure, you have like some areas that they will be a little bit tricky, but mostly it's not that difficult. So here you see, I just like extrude the side of the face back and just like leave it as is, for example, or for now, and I will come back to them later. And here I just like extrude those loops down and try to connect it to the other ones that I added before. And one thing that I keep doing is that whenever I add a few loops, or like extrude a few times, a loop a few times, I just like keep smoothing them. And here for the nose, I mean, overall in the face, it's super important to be sure that the way that you lay down your topology and your edge loops, if you want to add an edge, the edge loop won't just like circle around all of different areas of the face. This should be kind of like a closed circle. You see, I just like keep holding control and left click to see if I want to add edge, where it would go. And that's probably the easiest way to understand if you have like a spring type edge loop or not. And yeah, I think this is kind of like good enough to leave it there for now, and I will come back and try to figure out how I want to extrude the inside of the nose hole. And here, when you have like many edges, it's kind of like what I've done in this tutorial many times. I extrude once, like with a long extrusion. I will add the edges in between. That's probably the cleanest and easiest way to add those. And here again, I just like extrude a few times, because there is a muscle on the forehead that goes from the eyebrow to the top of the head, top of the skull. Is kind of like a vertical muscle, and because of that, it's good to have those lines that goes up and to the side, because if you just like raise your eyebrow, that muscle would shrink vertically, and the wrinkles that you will see on forehead would be horizontal. So because of that, I'm laying down this topology on the forehead like that, so I can easily have those horizontal lines for wrinkles on the forehead, and I have those like vertical edges as well. So here around the ears, the reason I'm adding this first, you notice whenever I want to have an important shape in my topology, I lay down that first, and then I try to figure out how I want to spread it out, or like figure out the surrounding of it. So the reason I'm adding it is just because of the UV. I mean, yeah, we have I'm trying to cover the shape there, but I want to have a clear cut around the ears. So that's because I did that here. And for the skull, like the top and back of the skull, I'm doing it like this, like relatively a lot lower res comparing to the other side that front, the face itself. And because I can do this and subdivide it once, and I will get kind of like similar amount of poly as like the face. And with these, because the neck and the back of the head and top of the head is kind of like, they look simple, but the edge flow there is important. And for the neck, I see the neck as a cylinder that when it goes like to the side, or to the like edges of this like bust that we have here, I try to there are different ways of tackling the kind of like a shoulders when it goes transitions to the neck. Some people add kind of like extrude the neck and keep it cylindrical, but I prefer to make it like this because of the shoulder muscles and the back muscles around the neck. And yeah, I just like subdivided the back of the head and the neck, and it's kind of like similar in terms of like density. And yeah, I just like keep adding polygon and connecting them. Here I just like jump ahead, and I noticed that if I want to have all of those edges that comes from the face, and I just like keep it go down to the neck, it would be way too many polygon on the neck. It's already a lot, and that way would be a lot worse. I think this is good. What we have here is good. And for the eyelids, like the thickness of the eyelid, I just like extrude those edges in, but for around the tear duct, it's a little bit different. Because some people add tear duct in as a separated mesh, especially in like cinematics or like VFX, they add that separately. But I mean, you can argue like that the way that I'm doing is not correct, but there is not really a correct or wrong way. Both of those ways would work. And for these characters specifically, I prefer to do it this way. Yeah, I just like added a couple more edge because I noticed that on the nose bridge we didn't have enough poly. And for the eyelids, I noticed that my eyeballs goes to the eyelids a little bit too much. So I just like pushed back the eyelid topology to be sure that it just like goes right on the connection point. Then I will go back in ZBrush and I will clean up my like inside the eyelid to be sure that it just like doesn't go that much in the eyeball. Because if I have it like that, and if I assign SSS to it, like subsurface scattering to the head, eyelids would get a little bit like buggy. The SSS on the eyelid would be a little bit messy in that area. It cannot calculate it correctly because it's not correct. And I always on the eyes, I always try to keep it consistent, the top and bottom part. And yeah, this is how I retopologize eyelids. At least if I want to just like keep the tear duct part of the topology of the face. And because at the end, I still think that I will subdivide the face one more time, comparing to the other side, other part of the face, other part of the character. Face doesn't have enough topology, I would say. Even with that, some people would say this is high, but for this character, it's not enough. So, because I wanted to add other edges, the cleanest way again is to extrude, like a long extrude, added like a long extrude, and come back later and add edges. And here, because of the shape that we have on the top of, between the upper lip and the bridge, the border of the nose on the bottom, I added that there. And the thing is, one of the hardest parts of, like, for retopology for the face is the lip line and the area that when you want to extrude the lip, the topology to go to inside the mouse, and to make, to be sure that it is clean enough, I figured that it would be better to turn off the live object and extrude it manually, not with the quad draw, and then coming back and cleaning it up. You see here on the, and because the thing is, this face is not fully symmetrical. The eyes and the mouth is not symmetrical. Even the neck is a little bit asymmetrical. So because of that, I have to, at first, I retopologized the whole face symmetrical, but then after I finished it, I will come back, mirror the face, and then I will snap it again to be sure that I have both sides of the face covered. It would be super hard if I want to just like retopologize the face asymmetrically fully. It doesn't make sense at all. Because you're like keep adding edges and like faces, and no way you can remember all of them exactly as the other side. So here just like go, the good thing about Maya, all of the modeling softwares except ZBrush, if it's a modeling software, you can go inside the model, and because of that, you see I go in the space between the front of the face and the inside the mouse, and there I can easily snap my topology to the sculpt. Here I noticed the other side became messy. I mirrored the whole face once to be sure that the left side of this shot mirrors on the other side as well. And again, for inside the mouse, I started lower res, and at some point I just like keep adding edges to be sure that I have an exact amount of edge comparing to the lip. And the other thing is, if you sometimes when you see some of the game models, you notice that some of the edges inside the mouse are like merged together because they didn't want to have exactly the same amount of edge that they have on the outside of the face goes like all inside of the mouse as well. But I have the budget here and I keep it as is. But I mean, because the topology that I have is, the topology that I'm making is clean enough, it's really easy to come back and merge some of these loops together if I want, which I don't think I would spend that much time on it, because no one wants to like performance check this character. And to be fair, if they want to performance check it, it's all good. It's like at the end, I think I will reach like 300,000 or a little bit more than that, which is all fine. And the thing is, for all of these stuff that I'm making for this tutorial, I mean, when I have like 300,000 triangle for the budget for this character, it kind of makes my job a little bit even harder than if I have like less than that, like for example 50,000 triangle, because with 300,000 you have to cover all of the shape changes. I mean, you can cover almost all of the shape changes, but with 50,000 you cannot. So you only cover the big silhouette changes. I mean, for sure it has its own difficulties, but this budget has more, how to say, it takes more time to retopologize something like this. At least in most of these parts that I retopologize, it would take more time. And here I'm trying to figure out how I need to close these. After connect that, it's just like can easily smooth it out. And I think we have a really clean topology for the inside of the mouse. Yeah, I mean, we can extrude the throat as well, but I don't think it would be needed. I mean, I don't have any plan to even add any teeth to this character. So maybe at some point I will add for like after this tutorial, but for this tutorial I won't add any teeth. And for the inside of the nose is like super easy, because you can just like extrude the borders and merge it together on top. And it would be better not to merge them like all together, but like all in one point. But even with that, it's not a problem. And even, I mean, sometimes you do that, and if you want to have it like that, you can remove one edge in a row, and it would be quad as well again. You see, it's just like as simple as it gets. And for the ears, if you take a close look, it's super simple. We have this edge, this form that we have, this shape, and we have another Y shape inside it. So at first I add this and kind of like extrude it in and try to match it to the other shapes. And because we don't have that much movement, if at all, on the ears, I see it kind of like a static mesh even. not exactly like a static mesh, but in terms of like it doesn't it doesn't have the same how to say, you should not make it in a way that it's like as important as the other part of the face. Like around the lips is super important, like around the eyes, but no, I mean ears are not even close. But again, for any even static meshes, you should be sure that you are adding your topology in a way that it covers the forms nicely and smoothly. And I mean, overall, the rule of thumb for me is kind of like, if you see that your topology is kind of like, it's funny, like if it's under pressure, you see that like there is one area that has like too many edges, or there is one area that has like way less comparing to the other parts. It means that there would be a problem when it moves. So if you keep that and if you follow the shapes, it should be all fine, at least like for the ears. And again, I just like whenever I just like extrude those faces, I just like extrude them and move them after that to be sure that I can just like place them in a proper place. For the like the border or the borders of the ears is mostly a matter of how much edge you can extrude out, depending on how many edges you have on the face itself to be able to connect them together. And if you have like more edges on the ears, it would be better to merge them in the cavities than merging them like in the areas that are more visible. On the back of the ears, it kind of like is kind of like the average of the areas that I retopologized on the head and the borderline that I have on the ears. So it's kind of like mixing them together and finding a happy balance between them. It's kind of like a transitioning from a flat line to a curved line. And this is what I mean, like you at the end you need to merge these two together. So yeah, I'm trying to find the kind of like a happy medium. Fortunately, I didn't have like too many to need to like merge too many faces together, too many edges together. Yeah, this is how you retopologize an ear. And this new edge that I added was because I noticed that the the normal of the faces that I have around the ears, because it transitions from the scalp and to the ears, is kind of like a 90-degree angle, or in some areas even more than that. uh, I mean less than that, is kind of like is not as good looking as I want. So I just like that. Oh, by the way, when you turn off that that history option for retopology, make sure that whenever you want to use any function like outside of Quadra, like for example, if you want to mirror your shape or like make a new shape, it would be better to turn that on, because you won't have history, and because of that you won't have any of these options that just like pops on your screen to just like change the number of the edges and the new mesh that you're adding, or like changing any option. So, and here I went back in ZBrush and fixed the inside of the eyes, and I brought the topology that I had for the inside of the eyes for the base mesh that I had in ZBrush, and I used it as a base, and I'm trying to match it to the face topology that I have. And to be fair, there are many artists that they haven't ever done any retopology for the face from scratch, because these days it's kind of like, I mean, not even these days, I mean, usually projects are based, I mean, they have a facial topology which is shared between all the characters, almost all the characters. And or like these days most people use like 3D scans that you buy like from 3D scan store, or like Texture XYZ, or all of these other websites that they have really good topology. Even I had that here as well, and I could use it, but I wanted to show you how you can retopolate like a face and head and like neck from scratch. And yeah, and this is the final result for the topology of the head and neck and face. And you can rewatch it as many times as you want to be sure that you can fully understand how I laid down those topology. But again, look at the facial anatomy as your guideline.